Yup.
We are live.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 137, recorded today, July 12th, 2017. On tonight's episode, we're going to discuss the results of the first Splatoon 2 Splatfest coming up. We're not going to talk about results, of course not. It's coming up, but we are going to talk about the Splatoon Direct that recently occurred. Nintendo! Can we do this again? I'm really just off. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably can. You need another take?
Yeah, take two.
Another take. Hang on. Let's get a new track here started. Let me just start a new track for you, buddy. No worries. We can do that. All right.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?
All right, we're good.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 137, recorded today, July 12th, 2017. And on tonight's episode, we're going to talk about the Splatoon Direct that occurred last week. WWE 2018 is coming to the Switch, brother. Oh, yeah. That's a really bad Hulk Hogan impression, but just go with it.
Go.
Oh, yeah. ARMS DLC is just released. It's out. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, Netflix has this little thing that we're watching, Splatoon. No, not Splatoon. God darn it. Castlevania.
I'd like to see a Splatoon anime, though.
Don't we? I think that would be really interesting. Tell me more. But, Zach, first, cue the music.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is July 12th, 2017. Joining me tonight from the land of the Flibberty Gibbet, sort of, I don't know, whatever.
You need to rate take two.
Voice fumble, Justin Masson. What's going on, Justin?
I've become so complacent of having Marty do the intros. I don't even write them anymore. I'm just like, whatever. I'll just wing this kind of thing.
I don't know if anybody writes them anymore. It's just
I used to. For 100 episodes, I would write down what I would say, and now I'm just like, no, I'll just wing it. So, but no, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me back. I know I was absent last week. I was on holidays over in Rome as I listened to you guys disrespect the fact that I wasn't here. I thought that was quite kind of you. Thanks.
You go on
thanks
holiday
very kindly.
When I went on a holiday, I went to Omaha.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The difference in quality of city.
Rome and I know, right? Omaha is just the best.
Nothing says holidays like Nebraska. So of course is the perfect introduction to Jesse Waldeck from VGW.com. What's going on, dude?
Yeehaw.
Yeah, I don't know if anything else can be said about that. Of course, Marty is off gallivanting and camping this week, so we wish him and his well. But I think we got a lot to talk about. We're about a week late on this Splatoon news, but we're going to talk about it anyways. So,
Sure.
But you know what? Let's get straight into it, shall we?
Do it.
And, of course, the news is brought to us by patreon.com/NintendoDads. And if you are a person who loves... Actually, of course, we have lots of awesome patrons over there. And all of our supporters as well, all of our fans, and all of our so many fans. We're huge. Basically, we actually have been getting a lot of traction with the contest that we're running this week. It's been going for a week now. It's going to go for another week. If you follow us on Twitter or Facebook, or of course, there's a post on it over on Patreon as well. We're gonna be, we're giving away some loot, some swag bags and stuff like all sorts of good stuff there. So you should definitely go over there, check that out, share some Nintendo Dads love, and get a chance at winning some sweet swag. So we may even end up giving out more than just what we said we were going to give out. So.
Don't tell them that.
Oh, so you should just go over there and sign up, and you probably win. So
I saw a side conversation with some people on Twitter that added this as mentions. I don't know if someone thinks we're giving away a Switch. That's not on the list.
No,
so
I
don't think that.
I will draw you a Switch. I will draw you a Switch, and I would like a little, those little sketch cards that you can get, not like a full size. No, like we're not going to go crazy. Like those little sketch cards that you can get. I have nice thick markers that I could even use.
Yeah. You know what? Here's what we will do. I will take a picture of me by my Switch.
Yeah.
And send it to you. And I'll even tweet you about it. That's
just a digital photo, though, right?
Yeah,
Email. Yeah. We're not going to.
Maybe I'll wear some short shorts. and do like a good lunge, right, with it at the same time. Yeah. I got like some Mario boxer shorts. We got to get that going.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You know what?
You know what? I've even got those handy just for you lads. Boom. Boom.
Oh my gosh! Dude.
Wow.
That made the mental image that I already had going so much worse. Okay, well, having said that,
how do you transition from that?
That happened.
Obviously you can pay us a little bit of money every month. That goes towards Justin's sweet Mario boxers, apparently. So there you go. All right, so let's talk about, I think the big thing that we're talking about tonight. Where's
Splatoon
my
2 details?
Here, I got this. This is just an old bumper that I have from a long time ago.
I'm a kid, I'm a squid.
Yeah, there you go. That's my son. Kid, I'm a squid. All right. So Splatoon is a thing. This happened last, like the day that our episode would have come out, right? Basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
We recorded right before it last time. And there's a bunch of stuff that came out from this. I don't know if it's necessary. I think people have heard most of the details by now. But let's just kind of go around the table a couple of times and say, is there anything that is particularly interesting to you that was either announced or shown off in this direct that was really interesting or that stuck out to you? Justin, let's start with you, sir. As far as from this Splatoon direct, is there anything that stuck out to you that you're excited about? You have this look on your face like either I'm frozen or you're frozen, and I don't know which one. It's him. He's... Hello, Justin?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on. He's just staring at us.
His eyes are moving.
No, the reason is on my end, you're roboting. And you're like, is there anything that man
Okay. Must have been
so I
just
was
your
like,
side because he was fine for me.
All right. So do you?
But now you're fine. But it was like I was like, I'm just gonna wait for you to stop.
Do you understand the question?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. But it was great to watch and listen. What was sort of still for me? You know what? I mean, I'm going to just go straight to the like everything else in Splatoon. I was like, yeah, I know. Okay, you got weapon loadouts, and they did a great job of understanding that Splatoon sold was really quite well received on the Wii U. Again, we had small installation base. 13 million people had a Wii U. Splatoon, smaller installation base. So they kind of were like, hey, let's tell you about Splatoon again. Everyone who's a fan is like, yeah, I know this, right? I know all these things about Splatoon. I know how the gear loadout works. I know these shops. The thing that actually, like, if I cut straight to the thing that I wanted to know the most about, because I already know, yeah, there's gear, it's going to be DLC, all that. Is there actual online app? Right, I'm going to cut straight to that. That was the thing I was like, tell me more about that. So they did pop
on answer available, right? And I feel like
that is essentially it. Like they didn't really tell us like a whole lot of everything about it, but they did say like it is going to launch in connection. Their mobile app's going to launch on July 21st. And the players will be able to have access to Splatoon Net 2. And then if you look at some of the screenshots associated with it, there is very much the kind of a lobby system that looks very similar to actually what ARMS was kind of doing with these floating bubbles. And then being able to easily invite people on your social networks. And then also included from that is Splatoon 2, where you're actually able to purchase your gear and have that available. And I think kind of the fun stuff like the Splatoon Ink challenge, we're able to see how much you've actually sprayed.
That reminded me a lot of what was it, We Fit You, where you had the little pedometer thing, and then it would tell you, oh, you've walked the length of Manhattan, or you've walked the length of the Great Wall of China. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff.
And I mean, there's nothing there that I'm like, oh wow, that's incredible value, and that's why I would buy the system or buy the game. But I did think it was kind of a neat little touch. It does so that does interest me. Trying to think what else. The part that really actually interests me is two things: is League battles and Salmon Run. Salmon Run sounds really great, right? Like I think that's gonna be that wicked horde mode. I want to know how easy it is for Marty include the four of us just to connect and be in a league battle.
Yeah.
Right. I want to know and is it my understanding that we can also? I'm looking actually the press release here. I'm actually on the press release. Salmon Run, the new local and online multiplayer mode finds up to 4 players working together to defeat bosses. So can I easily just be like, oh, the 4 of us are together and we can just jump into Salmon Run? But Salmon Run's in rotation, though, isn't it?
Well, so I looked at there was a very brief moment in the direct, and I actually freeze framed this because I was like, hang on, I got to know exactly what this is showing. And basically the screen that it showed makes me believe that it rotates every other day. So in other words, for in-game lore, from that in-game lore, they're basically going to say, yeah, we only have we're only hiring for salmon runs every other day. So like from 5 p.m. on Wednesday till 5 p.m. on Thursday, you can do a salmon run. And then from 5 p.m. on Thursday till 5 p.m. on Friday, they're not hiring and you can't do that mode.
Right.
So I've heard speculation. I think it was Roger last week that was saying, maybe maybe that was Roger. I'm trying to remember now. But basically that they don't want to siphon off too many people from the queue into Salmon Run, because then it's going to make the queue times for Turf War or ranked mode or whatever, that's going to increase their queue times for both of those modes if they introduce a third mode that's there all the time. So they're trying to alleviate some of that strain on the matchmaking process, but I don't know.
Right.
So if the full 24-hour, like if it's 24 hours on, 24 hours off, that's not as bad. You can kind of play around with that, and it seems like the app too. It's going to show what is available coming up, so you can plan that. Like the whole idea of the app is, hey, you guys, we should plan on playing some Splatoon tonight. Let's see what's available, and then we all go into the little app and we create like a little group that we all plan to be together on at a certain time, and we say, let's all do this mode, and presumably you can set that all up in the app so that you just log in and show up.
Yeah, so there's 2 pieces of this. I'm looking at some screenshots here online, so bear with me here. So just so people understand, there are 2 functional parts of this. There is the actual Nintendo Switch online app, and then within the app there is a secondary area, which is what we would call which is Splatoon 2. And actually, we're looking at some screenshots, and I apologize for those who obviously don't have access to this. You can actually why can't I not talk today? But it actually shows. Yeah, because it's 4 a.m. But it actually shows specifically, it says game-specific services, and it's like Splatoon 2. So you click on Splatoon 2, go into it, and that would be your Splatoon 2 net or Splatoon net 2, right?
Yeah, so you've got one icon on your home screen, but I would dare to call them like micro apps within the Switch Online app. Yeah, where presumably every time there's a new game, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either every time there's a new game that supports this, the app will be updated, or this app is basically just a portal for a web app that it's going to be able to launch from from your actual thing, which probably it's a combination of both. But if they have to update the app in order for this to be supported, that tells me that this is going to be limited to Nintendo first-party games, right? That we're not going to see FIFA, unless there's like a sponsorship here, but like FIFA pairing with Nintendo to have that in the app, like that's not a thing.
Or they could use a similar framework and FIFA have its own app that has similar functionality for its own game. Possibly, right?
So yeah, I mean, and then hopefully, we start to see some kind of back end connections too. I'd love to see. I know we're diverging here. We just like to chat, just the 3 of us whenever we want, right? But I'd love to see some updates of, hey, Mario Kart 8's now on here. Hey, ARMS is now available, right? Whatever that looks like.
ARMS is much more likely because they've said that they're going to be updating this game in general with more stuff. So
yeah. So out of everything, I mean, that's obviously and that was the thing I really wanted to hear more about. So that's going to be a big thing, obviously, on July 21st when that hits. The other thing that really kind of shocked me, I know we were going around the horn a little bit. So maybe I've got another thing I really thought was cool, but I'll let maybe someone else speak and then I'll come back to it.
Okay. What about you, Jesse? How did I know that you're not a huge Splatoon fan. How did this direct land on you? It was
Splat.
a lot of info that I agree if I wanted to play the game, I probably would care about. But not, most of it just kind of went over my head. I was kind of was interested in what we were going to do with the app, and we got a little bit of that information. But we did find out that they're doing a pre-release Splatfest.
That's a really cool thing.
I think that's like the one thing I did put in the notes because it is coming up. So
this weekend, right?
It's this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's Saturday night for only 4 hours.
SATURDAY night.
Yes.
I don't know what that was, but
have you not seen How I Married an Axe Murderer?
No.
Oh, I Married an Axe Murderer. It actually is.
No.
Mike Myers classic Canadian goodness.
So the Splatfest is 4 hours on Saturday night, as opposed to the normal ones are 24 hours, right? When they in Splatoon 1.
Usually, yeah.
Okay, so this is so you can download a free demo from the eShop, and then when you launch it, you'll do the normal. Here's a tutorial. Create your character. Here's your tutorial. Here's the lobby. Pick a side, and then you
just wander around the whatchamacallit, right. The plaza.
And then instead of Callie and Marie being your spokespeople, we now have 2 new characters.
Who are the first one? They were called the Squid Sisters. These ones are called Off the Hook.
Yeah, they are. It's Pearl and Marina.
Yeah, and everybody
I think
that I know is Team Marina.
Marina is the bigger waifu of the 2, definitely.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Which one? Now let me take a look at which one's Marina.
You'll notice it when you see it.
Marina is the Octoling. She is the one.
With the green and kind of tanned,
and clad in black leather.
Yeah, I like her. She's nice. during the what I mean by she's nice is that during the introductions and the speech stuff, she was politer. I thought the other one was quite rude.
The other one, the other one reminds me.
She seemed kind of snippy with some of her responses.
The other one, Pearl, reminds me of a stereotypical sort of like Swedish, sort of like Finland, sort of like Northern European, albino type person. I don't know what I'm doing. Now
Zach, we have a lot of Swedish, Northern European albino fans who listen to the show. So if you want to send an apology, I think that would be appropriate right now.
# sorry, not sorry.
So as normal for a Splatfest, you pick one of 2 sides. The sides are cake versus ice cream.
Yeah, and by the way, it's ice cream.
Marina's right.
Marina is it's Team Ice Cream. I after it came out or it was announced or whatever, I sat down with my wife and I was like, hey, the Splatfest is back, and like Splatfest was always a big deal in our house, and I was like, Splatfest is back, and the very first one, Team Cake versus Team Ice Cream. She's like, oh, it's no contest. You can always have cake without ice cream, or you can always have ice cream without cake if you want, but you can never have cake without ice cream. So ice cream is in both of you can't ever have cake without ice cream. It just doesn't make sense.
The banter between the 2 of them about cake versus ice cream I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, it actually is really funny.
So even if you're not interested in playing in the Splatfest, check it out anyway, just to hear that conversation. Is pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so absolutely. The Splatfest itself will run from 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday night. So adjust for your time zone.
Yep. So
the game gave me the time in my own time zone, so I'm presuming that it'll do it for you if you have your time zone set right.
Justin, what is that for you, man? That's like 11 p.m. Is that when that starts?
So what is it again?
It starts at 5. No, it's
4 o'clock Mountain.
4 o'clock Mountain. Yeah.
4 o'clock Mountain is 7 hours. 11. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
11 p.m. All right. Hey, man. But it's on a Saturday, so you're good. So you just stay up Saturday until 11 p.m.
I'm gonna need to check some times on that.
Yeah, that's surprising to me actually that they would do that and they'd be the only one. I do think I don't know. I think that it's the perfect final demo because that game is better. That game shows best during Splatfest. Like that is the biggest attraction that game has to offer is Splatfest, and it only comes once a month, and it's like really fun, and it seems like even all the ink is like neon ink or whatever, like everything's under a black light almost. It's really, really fun. So, and
they said, and that was one of the things in the direct. They said they are going to be supporting Splatfests for up to 2 years with DLC up for 1 year, which I think is great because a lot of people were quite upset when Splatfest actually ended. Yeah,
for sure. So I'm kind of honestly like getting into my impressions of it too. Really what I really came away with, and even last week I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this, whatever. By the end of this direct, I was like, oh man, like this reminded me of how much fun I had with the original Splatoon, and I'm just in for more. Like I am down for more of that. I'm ready to get back into it. I'm ready. Like this seems like it's giving enough new stuff to be to pardon the pun, fresh, right? Like it's you see what I did there, right?
See what you did there. That's smart.
The new slogan that they're going to be signing off with, I'm not digging that as much as the stay fresh.
Yeah, but so I'm excited about that. The other thing too is that they didn't really show. Apparently some of the Nintendo Minute stuff did actually have some of the single player stuff. I have intentionally avoided that actually, so I don't know what to expect. But
I do. That was one thing I did find lackluster in the first Splatoon was the single player campaign.
Yeah.
Not every. It's challenging because I sometimes find like if you have a really good online functionality, which I mentioned before, like Splatoon is very much about and very much kind of like ARMS. Like the fun of it is online with your friends or playing on that's the fun of Splatoon and ARMS. The single campaign, the single player is very thin. Yeah. Right, so it's very challenging to balance a proper here's a really good, awesome, engaging, single player campaign, and by the way, the online is amazing and kind of gives you more, right? And I definitely felt like the first Splatoon that was one of the things that was lacking as a single player was just thin. So hopefully that's kind of solved. But I'm getting super hyped for it for sure.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I pre-ordered the headset, the stupid headset thing today.
I didn't think you were gonna.
No, dude. I totally was going to because of that weird. I did it for podcaster reasons though. I did it because that dongle actually just from a pure audio tech geek. I was like, dang, that's actually a pretty cool little dongle. Plus, it comes with this cool headset that I'm sure my son will love. So whatever. That's totally why I got it. I got it with the reason everybody else was like, I don't want that stupid dongle. What the hell is that? And I'm like, nope, that's exactly why. That is why I'm buying this thing is for that. And
I haven't ordered it. I'm not sure I will, but if I did, it'd be just to have that for audio reasons.
It's cool. It's it's a cool little, and I mean, it's literally a dongle, but whatever. That's how you know that I'm just a dorky audio tech guy. So.
For those of you that are interested, it is up on Amazon to pre-order. I
actually pre-ordered it on EB Games.
Oh, did you? Okay, it is available on Amazon too. I got it for I think it was $30.
It was 40 here. So
yeah.
Before we move on, I did want to add that yesterday part of the embargoes lifted, so people started talking about what was in the single player campaign, and they found out that Marie is a character involved in the single player campaign. So if she gives you advice and stuff on what to do, but if
they kind of showed that direct too, right?
Very little bit, but the more information came out from yesterday's news.
Something like that.
The part that I was amused with is if you pester her so much that she goes through all of her important things, she starts going through some non-important things, and she revealed that she does not like pineapple on her pizza, which means then that Carrie does, and of course I was always Team Carrie, so that just or
Carrie one, right? Huh? Or Callie?
Callie.
She's the pink one.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so yeah, she's the one that. So yeah, so I'm a pineapple fan on the pizza. I don't know what you guys are, but I found this to be funny that
That's
Nintendo,
none of your damn business. Thanks for asking.
That's fair.
That's like, and if you're, that's
but,
like asking.
but Nintendo decided to make that canon.
Yeah, that works for
Marie
me.
doesn't
Man.
like pineapple on her pizza.
Wasn't that one of the Splatfests? Was like, do you like pineapple on your pizza? Yes or no? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe somewhere else. I don't think it was here.
Yeah, maybe.
It may have been pizza versus another food.
Maybe.
Like hamburger versus hot dog one, similar to that. But I don't know.
So yeah, so that's pretty much everything in the Splatoon Direct. I'm excited for it. There was a bunch of items and stuff they showed off too. I don't think we need to get into the minutia of all the different items.
No, I would say we don't need to get in minutia, but there are some pretty sweet new ones, like the umbrella.
The umbrella is pretty cool.
I wasn't used with that one.
It's cool.
Yeah,
The GooTuber. What else is the hamster wheel?
Yeah. The other thing that I did want to say too is what's this guy? They have a bunch of new characters who are in the shop. There is this weird little yellow crab guy named Bisque, and he's the man. He's awesome. He's cool looking. They're all cool actually. There's what was it? I think it's there's one that's like a sea enemy. Her name's Flo, but she's got like a little dude on her, and she's and he's just like, kill me now or something. I don't know. He has weird dialogue. He's just like, I regret my life. Weird. I can't remember exactly what it is. I don't know if it was her or somebody else who had like a little buddy next to him, but it was really funny when I was just going through the lobby and stuff. So I would definitely encourage people, if you're planning on doing the Splatfest, go in and download it now and just wander around and just talk to people and like and just see everything that can be seen, because it is worth going and spending 10 or 15 minutes in there just to get your feet wet. And practice jumping around using B instead of X, because you'll need to get used to that again.
Yeah, I had a couple mistakes that way.
Yeah. So that is the Splatoon Direct. The other big news I think coming out this week is just that came out this morning, and we'll come back to this. I guess maybe we'll just say it very quickly. WWE 2K18 announced for Switch.
I think this is like the third or fourth 2K game that's been announced, which is pretty good. Yeah,
they're really going all in. Now, most important.
This is the first time WWE has been on the Nintendo system since the Wii.
The Wii, yeah.
With 13.
I haven't played a wrestling game since, was it WWF versus NWO or something like that on like the 64? Did you like all the 64 wrestling games?
I think mine was like a WWF game on the NES or the pro wrestling generic. The winner is you.
All I know is that you could make your own character, and so if I can make my own character in this and it's ridiculous, then I will probably, I don't know, I still probably won't get it, but it's cool that they're supporting it. That's cool. So I don't think there's much else to say about that at this point. The other big news, obviously, is that the ARMS 2.0 DLC is out now, which includes the first DLC character, Max Brass, and a new mode, which will show up in the online mode, in your basic sort of online party mode. What's it called? Headlocked.
No, let me get that for you. It's Headlock.
Headlock something.
Shuffle? No.
Basically, what it does, though, while we're figuring out the name, is that you
scramble.
Headlock Scramble, and basically how it works is that Headlock, who of course is that character, that weird robot thing that jams onto your head in the game, with 4 arms on it, you basically battle for control with of that Headlock, and as long as you have him, then you have like much more powerful attacks, and when you punch, you actually punch 3 times. And there's this little timer that's on the back of his head that if you actually manage to hold on to it for long enough, then he'll fly away and come back. But otherwise, if you get knocked down, then he's up for grabs again. So it's a really interesting mode, and I really liked it. I played it on Party Match, and it was really fun. But yeah, I don't know. And Max Brass seems actually like a real like kind of like a faster version of Master Mummy is kind of my initial take on him, where he's a little bit faster, but he's also pretty good too. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Justin, on the DLC?
Yeah, I think it's quite good. So there's a couple of things I would add to there as well. They do have a new stats functional area where you can kind of see the stats of the players that you have. And the other one they actually have now is events. And events is down in the bottom left-hand corner. And I did put a little thing on our YouTube channel about this specifically, and allows you to actually participate in official ARMS online events that you opt into. You just go down and select join. So it sounds like they're going to actually have more official events associated with it. So I'll be interested to hear what that looks like. Max Brass is not too bad. I'm so used playing with Kid Cobra, who's very quick and nimble. All of a sudden, playing with Max Brass feels like you have literally just a weight of brass around your legs and you're not moving. It feels very slow that way. But really great. I'm curious, like, do we expect to see more DLC characters? Is this it? Or are we just seeing new stages? How do they introduce a new character? What does that look like?
Still saying that they're going to announce more characters. Like
I would think, right? And obviously, Max Brass is the first one that's given to us. But like, how do the new ones come in? I'm very interested to see where they go with this.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the thing that interests me, and I'm curious. And I know Marty mentioned it last week, and I want to give him kind of shout outs for it as I was listening to the episode on the flight back, actually. But how do they maintain a proper amount of run rate in Steam with both ARMS and Splatoon going at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Because now you're not competing for the exact same market, but there's probably a lot of Venn diagram overlap of fans who probably have both, who are wanting to compete in both. And I think with the popularity of Splatoon, and it being the hot newness, and it's got the online services now, that all of a sudden people will drop ARMS very quickly.
I'm probably in the minority of that Venn diagram that owns neither.
yeah, exactly, right. You go back to your Persona 5 or your JRPGs, all right, son, you simmer.
We'll do that.
So I think that'll be interesting to see when both games are in the market what happens. And I actually do think with Marty, I think they may have made a strategic marketing error, and I think that Splatoon is going to eat up your momentum that you have on ARMS right now. I think Splatoon probably should have been delayed a little bit longer.
Yeah, you know what though? I don't know about that. I think, like, I don't know if that's like, because they are both competitive games, but they're not the same. Like, I think there would be more to that if it was ARMS and Smash Brothers. You know what I mean? Because those are both fighting games. These are two totally different genres, though. There's the shooter and the fighting sort of things there. Yeah. So I wonder if there's a little bit, if there's less crossover than we might think. But also I think that ARMS is something like Splatoon is definitely an evergreen title, right? Like they've said they're going to do Splatfest for 2 years, which tells me like this game is going to sell really well for 2 years, and they will keep it on the shelf for 2 years. ARMS, I think, is something that was a good game to have, sort of to flesh out the catalog. But I also think that it's not as complex. It's it's not as meaty as the other games, and that's probably okay if it doesn't sell. It doesn't need to sell like gangbusters in order to be successful. It just needs to be good enough to have some sort of traction. And as long as they're still updating it, I think that it will continue to be, it will continue to be that kind of game where people are like, oh man, Splatoon is a game that I love playing Splatoon, and if you're bouncing back and forth, I think that actually could be really good, because you're going to end up having people doing both and keeping people interested in both. But we'll see. Yeah,
I wonder if there'll ever be some kind of crossover in some way. So
crossover? What do you mean?
I don't know. Like all of a sudden, maybe one of the one of the levels for Splatoon 2 looks like one of the arenas for ARMS.
Nice.
Right, like that kind of thing,
a
right?
Noodle bowl.
Yeah, possibly, right. Sorry, just before we move on, and I don't want to you mentioned Smash Brothers a couple times. You had Roger on the show yesterday or last week. Roger is wrong. We are not getting Smash this year. It's not going to be announced at Evos. It's not going to be any of that. That's garbage. He's full of it. I love you, Roger, but it ain't going to happen.
There's no way they don't release that announce at any other time than E3 or some crazy big effect.
You are not going to get like a ching or whatever effect he's thinking for any of this. Stop it. Stop with the Smash Brothers. It ain't coming out this year. All right? No. Enough, Roger.
Accept it. Yeah.
Lucas in the chat thinks that ARMS and Inklings will both get representation in whatever newest Smash comes out for Switch.
Probably. I would
likely.
think whatever the new, like, they're both characters I think that would definitely be on there, but they're definitely not getting them. You're not getting Smash this year. Since
I think that there were a lot of people who were really excited about that, and I think that we are going to get more of an overhaul than people, because I think there were a lot of people who just assumed, okay, well then Smash Brothers is going to be there. We have a lot of ports coming, and Smash Brothers is a game that everybody wants, so they're just going to do a port. And I honestly don't see them doing that. I think it's going to be I think it will be a sequel to about a similar sort of level as Splatoon 2, where it's like, is this a sequel? Is this a port? It's hard to tell. I don't really know. You know what I mean?
You can only pull that card so many times before you start burning fans. And you've already pulled it on Mario Kart 8. You have pulled it on Pokemon Tournament, right? If they're doing any ports, they're getting all the ports out. Here's Nintendo Dad, quote me now. If they are doing any ports for the Nintendo Switch, all of those ports are coming out in the first year of the launch.
Yeah.
Which means you are not going to see another port, a port, not a sequel. You're going to see that in the first year.
Yeah,
that's it.
Because I think again, like, it could be argued that Splatoon 2 is an enhanced, like, it's not like it is a sequel. I'm not going to say it's not a sequel, but like, how much of a sequel is it? Like, how it's a very limited sort of sequel. It's not like it's a crazy sort of sequel that is blowing the lid off and it's a totally different thing. It's a derivative sequel, and I think that we may see a more derivative sequel to Smash Brothers than we're used to. But it's I don't know. So that's kind of, I've made the terrible mistake right now of starting an ARMS match right now as I'm speaking. So and it's an online one too. So oh crap. No, go away, Max Brass. Okay. So next up, let's real quick talk about is there anything else about ARMS that I think it's cool that they've added that I hope they have more characters. Let's say real quick, what is the next character that we see introduced into ARMS? Justin, go real quick. What is his arms? What are the? Let's do a Mad Libs ARMS character.
His arms are made out of spaghetti noodles.
Instead
and he's
of
Italian.
Yeah,
it's a stereotype.
Okay. Let's do it, but like let's go with like let's make that, but he's Italian, but he's also like he's also Mario, so he's like, what was his name? What was his name in the original Super Show? Mario. We'll have that iteration of Mario be him.
Yeah, there you
go. Right, the live action
Lou
guy.
Albano?
Yep, exactly. We're gonna have him.
and they'll call him Lou.
Yep.
Is that similar to how, I forget the fighting game, but they put Mega Man in, but the Mega Man 1 box art version?
Exactly. That's exactly. just some like dumpy plumber man with overalls, but he's got spaghetti noodles for arms. That's what I want. Nintendo, make it happen. Let's do it. Okay, next up we have.
You're not going to ask me?
Oh yeah, go
seriously.
Ahead. Go ahead. Let's go. Sorry, we were all doing a Mad Libs together. Okay, what are we adding to this?
Dulcine from Street Fighter.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that'd be awesome. That actually would be really, really cool. I would love that.
They got Ryu in Smash, so why the hell not?
Yeah, dude.
And he's got the stretchy arms, so he fits.
Yeah. And I want to have... What was it? I don't know.
The original Springman from Mega Man 2?
Yeah. Or I just want I don't know, Stretch Armstrong. That's what I want.
Nice.
Okay. That let's go just full on stereotype, unpredictable, uncreative sort of solution for me. Okay, finally here, there's a big Pokemon Go thing going on. Holy crap, there's a lot here. Do we want to go through all this? What's the 2-second version? They're the two...
I don't know if there is one, but I thought it was really interesting, so I put out as much detail in the notes as I could.
Okay.
So I'll try to keep it short. So to celebrate the first anniversary of Pokemon Go, which actually was last week, there's going to be an event in Chicago on July 22nd at Grant Park, where it's pretty much an all-day event. There's going to be 3 half-hour windows, one at 11, one at 12, one at 3, where the trainers who all gather up try to catch as many Pokemon as they can, and based on the typing that they catch, they will unlock certain bonuses for those worldwide, in the future. So things like if they meet the goal with fire Pokemon, it'll give a candy bonus. Electric bonus will be egg distance reduction before hatching. Things like that.
I love that on like a good pasta sauce, a good egg distance reduction. That's just
okay. Okay, and then
delicioso.
While they're doing that, everyone else in the world will be doing their own thing, probably just based on Pokemon caught. I'm not sure what the limits are, but if they reach the Bronze Award, there'll be a 24-hour increase in the duration of the bonuses unlocked by the Chicago people. Silver Award will be a 48-hour increase, and if they get a Gold Award, it'll unlock a mystery challenge back to the Chicago people. If that gets unlocked, that'll be from 6 to 7 to do whatever the challenge is. It's a mystery, we don't know. If they succeed that, it'll give a mystery global reward for everyone worldwide on the next two days, the 23rd and 24th, Sunday, Monday.
Interesting.
So it sounds like if you're in the Chicago region, this is great.
Yeah, to those of you in the Chicago region, with great power comes great responsibility.
So there is incentive for everyone else to be playing along, to unlock the gold reward, to give Chicago something else to do that hopefully gives something else for us. But so, yeah, it sounded interesting. So
yeah.
And then there'll be other events in Europe and Japan. They're kind of completely separate from this.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
But I thought that was interesting with what they're doing in Chicago.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It's always cool to have these events. Apparently I saw online that the tickets for this went to scalpers so fast that they're
selling tickets to it.
Yeah, well, I think it was free. The tickets were free to go to the actual convention or whatever, the some celebration, but they sold out so fast that they and scalpers are just making a killing on it. So
I hate that.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah. So that's that. That's a good time. Finally, maybe Netflix Castlevania series came out this week. I haven't watched it yet. I watched the first. Basically, I watched until the title card of the first episode. So the whole thing where they spoiler alert, where they burn that lady alive. That's all I've seen so far. And honestly, I feel there's a really awesome. I love sort of old literature, horror / weird fiction stuff. It's actually a podcast that I love listening to that I'll just plug is called the H.P. Lovecraft Literary Podcast. But they literally went through the entire catalog of H.P. Lovecraft fiction, and then they've gone through a whole bunch of other classic fiction too. And I just finished listening to their coverage of Dracula, the original Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula novel. And then I started watching this, and I was like, "What? This is the same thing."
Oh, really?
Because it's Dracula, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same character. At least it had very much the same feel. There was less religious overtones in that original Dracula, book, but it was really interesting. And so I was like, "What is this?"
Oh yeah, the religious overtones just gets worse and worse.
Well,
by episode 3.
Yeah, so let's just say that we'll do a bit of an after dark on it. We'll have a bit of a chat with it. But if you're out there, give it a watch. There are 4 episodes totaling 2 hours, or I guess
I'd say about an hour and a quarter to an hour.
Yeah, about an hour and a quarter. So
basically, about enough is
22 minutes each times 4, so 88 minutes.
So a little less than an hour and a half. So yeah, so it's like a short movie kind of. So we'll do an after dark on that and really talk about that a little bit more.
I ended up watching it all in one sitting, and then I tried to watch it all again tonight before we were recording After Dark, but I only got into the 3 episodes in. Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. It's a thing. It's cool. What else? I think that's it, right? Jesse, you said you ran a Twitter poll. You want to do that?
The last week in June, I put up a Twitter poll asking what resolution of display do you have to play video games on. I did a similar poll last year, and I think that one had a much smaller audience, and it was probably more Nintendo based. So the results was about 20% at 720p or less, 75% at 1080p, and like 5% at 4K. So this one had a bigger scope. I think we got some non-Nintendo gamers voting in on it, which is fine. That's kind of what I wanted. And
I didn't come around.
The numbers actually surprised me this time. I was expecting the 4K to be the lowest number again, and it wasn't. It was not. Yeah. So 0% still played on SD systems. So everyone's got an HD something.
That doesn't surprise me. That's
right. That wasn't the shocking number. So 9% play on 720p or 1080i, which is half of what we had last year.
Mm-hmm.
About 60% played us on 1080p, which is down about 30%, 15%. And then the 4K or anything above 1080p was up to 31%. So that went up 6-fold over last year.
That's surprising to me. Like
I was expecting maybe 10 to 15, but it was 31%. And we had 100. Wow. I don't remember how many votes we had last year. It was definitely less, but this year we had 159 votes, which that was impressive.
Again, I don't, and maybe this is just me. Like, I don't find I've seen 4K TVs and I think they look great, but I'm like, yeah, but is it that much better? Like,
I have seen the prices of them getting more reasonable. Like last year, they still weren't reasonable yet. They were like, at the bottom line was like $800 still. Now I think they're in the $400 to $500 range.
Yeah.
So as they get cheaper, they'll be more common.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Well, and is there enough 4K content to support it? Is always the thing I would ask. But
I think if you are in the market of buying Blu-rays, then pretty much all movies that come out nowadays that you would want to see in 4K, you can get in 4K. Like like if you are looking for movies to watch, you could do that.
Yeah,
but
they have Blu-rays are 1080p still, but they have like ultra Blu-rays. I think they're called, which do have 4K or so at least something larger than 1080p content.
I think they call them UHD, like ultra high def or something like that. I don't know what the marketing is on that for 4K stuff, but
that sounds awfully close to what the PSP's discs were called. Which they should rethink that.
Yeah, that's true. So that's basically that is that. And Nintendo's saying that that's not enough. And who knows? Nintendo's like the classic sort of researcher in me is wanting to put out the disclaimer that this is an accurate representation of our audience that saw this tweet. So
right,
as far as like a sample size.
Most of them would be Nintendo gamers more than Xbox or PS4, I presume. So,
although the chances that they may have another system is probably, I wouldn't say it's out of the question either. So
no, I think it's kind of normal to have two consoles. Yeah. Whether you consider the secondary, and the Nintendo the primary, or the other way around. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
there was a time during the PS3 era I almost considered the Wii the secondary console because I played PS3 more often, but that didn't mean I disliked the Wii more.
Yeah, for sure. Right on. Well, hey, let's get into some what we've been playing, and because we've got stuff to talk about, shall we?
Do it.
All right. So I think I'm gonna just very quickly go first here for a second. Justin's playing ARMS or something. I can hear the clickety clack of his Switch. Is that you, Justin? Is that what that is?
It might be.
All I hear it sounds like this.
I'm a bad person, aren't I?
So it's but yeah. So I'm gonna quickly talk about. We kind of talked about it briefly. I did play a little bit of the ARMS thing. I think we kind of covered it enough. Is there anything that you want to add to that, Justin? The new stuff for ARMS?
Nah, it's good.
Nah.
Keep playing it.
It's good. I like the grenade arm for Max Brass. I think it's.
Thank you for listening.
Nope. Sorry, I hit my sound button.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Wow. Be careful with your bumper, with your soundboard. Don't push the wrong buttons. Good grief.
The more you know.
That is the danger of using an analog mixer, by the way, if you hit the wrong button on your soundboard and turn on the microphone. Anyways, pardon me while I get some Kleenex for my bleeding ears. Okay, what was I saying? Something about...
You were calling me out for playing ARMS, and now you're talking about what you're playing.
Yes. Yeah, so I did play a little bit of that. It was fun. So I did play a little bit more of the Master Trials. I've been playing Breath of the Wild in Master Mode, and I got all the way to the end, to the end boss of... I decided that I was going to do the bird one first, and the bosses in the freaking Divine Beasts, F those guys. It's terrible. It's so bad. Especially when you're like, I feel like I'm going to have to basically get as many shrines as humanly possible before doing any of, like, to just build up my hearts, because I was fighting him, and he's the one that like throws the tornadoes around. And I had 6 hearts by the time I got to him. So I had, I'd gotten I'd probably gotten like 20 shrines or something. And I'd gotten like a stamina meter upgrade, and I got like 3 hearts or something like that. So probably close to 20 shrines. And I took 1 hit from those tornadoes and I was dead. And I was like,
oh no.
Screw this, man. Like this sucks. And apparently, and I didn't realize this either, but I think somebody was playing the master mode, and if you go into the Master Trials thing where you have to do the actual trials, I think I heard this on NVC, on Nintendo Voice Chat. You go in there and you have a stick and you have to beat all those bokoblins, but yeah, they're all blue now. So screw, like, it's unfair in parts, like to the point where it's like almost impossible. But
are the weapons at least upgraded as well, or do they still start with the same wooden crap that...
I think they're probably, like, at least what I've played so far, you're fighting up against they still have the same weapons that they would have had otherwise, right? So like when you're on the Great Plateau, you run into the bokoblins, and yeah, he's still got like a little crappy level 3 club or whatever, right? Like he's got that crappy little boko club that's not very powerful at all, and you have to hit him 1,000,000 times before it takes him out. So
I'm wondering if the 4 weapons or 5 weapons on that stage would even be enough to kill 1 blue bokoblin, much less 3.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty nuts. It's a nuts sort of thing.
At least in the normal mode, my strategy for that first phase literally is just to beeline the camp and grab 2 out of the 3 weapons before they get a chance to get them, and then I take them out. Though it's the spear that I want, but it's always the spear that I can't get.
Yeah, my strategy is usually now like throw a bomb into the middle of the camp and then just launch as many people as many of the goblins away as possible, and then grab all the weapons, and then hopefully I've created enough of a diversion that I can just kind of pick them off one at a time or something. But
so Zach, as someone who's not jumped into hard mode yet, I have the DLC. I just haven't got into hard mode yet. How has your play style changed, or has it changed? I was again, if we reference NVC, I was listening to them recently, and Brian was mentioning how much it really became much more of a stealth game. Yeah,
much more of a stealth game, and I feel like in normal mode, I would, if I engaged a camp, it was like, all right, once a battle has started with these guys, then it is on until all of them are dead. And
Right.
and in hard mode, in master mode, it's like, okay, what do I actually want here? Like, why am I fighting these guys?
You've got to peel one off and make sure it's only one.
Yeah, peel one off. And if they all attack, then you just get the heck out of there, right? Like, you just run. There is no shame in just running away in master mode.
Run!
Right? And so that's... and yeah, so that's kind of where it's at. So that's how it has changed for me too. Very
MMO-ish strategy. Like back when I used to play MMOs, I'd have a group, and like there was one, usually a monk or someone, it would be the puller, would try to peel one off of a group.
Yep.
And then if they brought a few more, then I was the enchanter to put the others to sleep. But if they only brought one, great, then I can start doing damage.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too is that especially in Breath of the Wild, you have to be really careful because so many of these bokoblins have the little trumpet thing. So they'll, like, as soon as one of them sees you, they're like, and you're like, oh no, get out of here, it's just like you're just screwed. And so you have to know. I do find that I use my bombs more just to throw the enemy off balance, right? So like they're chasing after me and I quickly drop a bomb behind me and like swivel the camera so that I'm actually looking behind me instead of in front of me. And I'll just, like, as soon as the bomb is near the enemy and I'm far enough away from it, then I'll detonate it and it'll disperse the enemies behind me so that I can actually get away and get some more distance. But it's fun. I do like it. It's just it was a little bit. There was this moment where I was like, "Oh, okay, that's how this game is gonna how it's gonna handle me right now." Like, I'm not gonna be able to go to, because my thinking originally was, I'll go to the bird divine beast and I'll get Rivali's Gale, and then this whole game is gonna be gravy. And it's like, oh no, I don't think I'm gonna even be able to take on a divine beast for a while because I'm going to be hurt. In fact, what I probably will do is actually backtrack and go over to the Zora one and see if I can at least maybe get that one, because that one, by the time I get there, I will have found more shrines. Plus, then I'll get like the resurrection piece or whatever, right? Mifa's Grace. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's fun. I really like it. So
my son started Master Mode, and I didn't tell him anything that I heard about it. I just wanted him to find out everything for himself. And when he saw that Lionel,
he's like,
he goes, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, it's bad. So I've been playing a lot of.
And I think it was white too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not a crappy one either. The other thing that I have been playing is a little eShop game called Thumper. I don't know. Have you guys played this? Have either of you played this or seen anything of it? Have you watched the trailer?
I think I got dizzy and said no. I'll pass.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I was like, no dice. This is not up my alley in any way, capacity in any way.
Yeah, this is not a JRPG.
Yeah. Yeah. Then that's like. It's just like a checkbox for Jesse. Is this a JRPG? Yes or no?
Yes or no.
Then I'll play it. If not, then no. So Thumper is a rhythm game. I would say it's almost. I don't want to call it a horror rhythm game because that doesn't feel right. But it definitely has that sort of horror aesthetic. Like it's creepy. Here, I've just plugged this into my Switch. I'll see if I can get it to do just like the opening music theme. But also, like, it has this weird sort of like 2001 space, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's very, but basically you're like this weird little silver bean, I don't know, that flies along the tracks, and you have to, like, there's a light on the track and you hit A to time it and all of those sorts of things. But I don't, like, there's no story. It's just super creepy. I've gotten through the first full level, and it's creepy, but also just kind of good. Like, it's the kind of game that you want to play with headphones on, right? And like play it in the dark with headphones on. And it's just fun. I don't really know how to explain it other than just to, go and watch the videos and understand that with each one of these obstacles you have to do a different input. So if there's a little light on the track, you push the light on the track and it's going to and it will trigger. And if you turn and there's like a little rail along the side, then you have to hold A and left. And then if you have to jump over spikes, you hold A and up. And it's very much like, but it's learning how to, like, what are the individual things within that level in order to keep you alive, basically. So there's a lot of sort of trial and error too, where it's like, oh crap, I died. But there's always this sort of ominous feeling to the music. Like the starting screen, actually, it's almost too nice. I'm feeling as I'm doing it, like, it's not giving the ominous feel that I'm wanting to convey. But that's basically how the game is. It's pretty good. I like it. So it is a little bit on the, I don't know how many or how much it is or how many hours it takes to do it. I think it was $27 on the eShop in Canada, but I think it's $20 in the States. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good little eShop game. So if you like that kind of thing, go and do that. I bought it specifically because it looked creepy. So here, and I just love that sort of horror stuff. So
I just brought up the page on the Nintendo site to double check the price, and the image that they have is really creepy.
It's very creepy. Okay, here's the music from I'm playing the trailer on my Switch now. So it's like filled me with existential dread, and I absolutely love. Here we go. And I mean, this game has been on like Steam and all sorts of stuff for a long time. And like, this is the kind of music that a lot of times is playing while you're playing, and like you're doing different things on beat. And it's very fast paced too, like where if you don't do it right, then you are going to die. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Like, let's take just a pause there and just, one of the things that I've noticed about the Switch is just a massive amount of games that are hitting the eShop.
Yeah,
that like you kind of forget. So just as I take a glance at this, in the recent releases, Implosion, Bubble Boy, Sheppy, Vaccine, Oceanhorn, obviously Goner that was mentioned last week, some bunch of Neo Geos, right? Those are just like last week's releases. And then coming soon, you go in there, we have got Dimambo that comes out tomorrow or today, I and Me, Death Squared, Levels. Just like every week you go in that eShop and there are 4 or 5 brand new games that are available or are coming out that week. And man, there is so much to play. And I know that, people are always like, oh, there's nothing to play on the devices. There's so much being brought over right now.
Yeah.
People who say that pretty much don't look at eShop. They only look at the store shelves.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the main things I've been playing this week. I guess obviously the Splatoon 2 demo or thing, I did jump into that. And yeah, it's just been fun. It's been kind of a crazy time for me, but I'm looking forward to getting into Splatoon next week. Which is when that comes out. It's crazy that it comes out next week. So, and I'm really looking forward to the Splatfest too. So that is me. Justin, what have you been playing, dude?
I haven't been playing a whole heck of a lot. I was on holidays last week out to Rome, but I did. I decided to leave my Switch at home, but I did bring my 3DS with me, and I am playing Cave Story on the 3DS. And I know
Switch, right?
Sorry,
that just came out on the Switch.
It just came out on the Switch, so I was going to get it on the Switch, and I looked at the price, and I was like, "Oh, it's $40 digitally." And I was like, "Whew, that's a little bit steep for a game that I'm, kind of like maybe about." And I heard a lot of positive things. And I remember it was on the 3DS at one point. It always caught my fancy. I was like, maybe I'll pick it up, but I just kind of passed on it. And then I went and checked the 3DS, and I was like, oh, it's $10. It's $10 on the 3DS. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, I picked it up for $10, and really, really enjoying it. Like, I think it's a great game, great story. I'm about 4 hours into it so far, and just definitely some Metroidvania components to it, but. It's interesting. I was reading a lot about it, just kind of understanding it beforehand, and people are saying, it was kind of really the hallmark or really one of the first games, that big indie scene of games, and again designed by one guy. And I thought, really, really fantastic game. So Cave Story for the 3DS. I'm playing that, and I'm really enjoying it. I've not been playing any of the Master Trials. I will tell you a little bit of it brought me back to, I shouldn't say it brought me back, but as soon as the DLC dropped, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to get back into my Legend of Zelda, and I started playing it. And for those of you who followed me on Twitter, I had a bit of an incident where I thought my daughter had erased my game. So I had the day of the Saturday, I put like 7 hours into it, because I'm one Divine Beast from being done, but I'm really taking my time. I'm a couple memories away, and I want to get a lot of the main quests done before I actually decide to go for Ganon. I want to get more of the shrines done. I'm just kind of taking my time at it. And so I sat down and I put it down, and my daughter's like, oh, I'm going to play. And so she goes and plays. And next day I go to pick up the device, and I go into my load file, and my data's gone. It's just her. And I'm looking at it, and it's like the Great Plateau. And I was like, what is going on? And she had said to me, she's like, Daddy, I'm going to start my game again. But what we didn't do is, she wasn't on her profile, she was on my profile. So I sat there, and I was like, I have just lost about 75 hours of.
Do you still have custody of your children?
I do. My wife is like, you handled that really well. I'm like, there's nothing I can do, right? Yeah. I can't
Oh, like that's the thing, right? That's almost the worst thing, was like where it's completely innocent and you're just like, you have no idea. My dad tells a story about when I was a kid. He had this really nice record player, like those huge, awesome, super high quality one. And I just totally destroyed it one day.
Oh no.
It's just like, what do you do? This kid's 2 years old. I don't understand, but that's the modern equivalent of that. That's
so I'd sent out some images and some requests of hey, does anyone know how to recover? And basically everyone was like, dude, you're hooped. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna go downstairs and just kind of sadly look at my Switch again and maybe have a good cry. And I go into the file, and I scroll down, and the final, very last in that sleeve of save slots is my save.
Would have played for another 2 minutes, you would have been screwed.
If she had taken basically another couple more steps into another autosave, it would have autosaved and pushed it right out of the rotation. So there was one in there from the day earlier. So I was able to I went to that, I clicked into that, and I was like, it saved it. So I lost about 7 hours of Breath of the Wild as opposed to 75 hours. So then we had a long conversation about why it's important to play on your own profile and not Daddy's ever again. So it's kind of a bit of a running joke right now in the house of what file are you on? Show me. Because I had done those things, right? Everyone in the house has their own profile. Yep. Everyone in their house has their own ability to set games up. So
this is why in our house everyone has their own unit.
Well, and this is honestly I remember when we first got our Switches. I remember having this conversation of, well, yeah, that's great that everybody has their own account, but I can't set it up so that if they use my account, they have to put a PIN in, right? Yeah. That they can just use my account, and I don't that defeats the purpose of me having an admin account or something like that. You need to it's not it's not helpful to have an account that anybody can just access. So
yeah. So from a parenting perspective, my wife was like, "You handled that really well," and I'm like, "You can't." But it is funny the amount of people. I think it was Tim. He reached out to me, one of our Patreon folks, and he said like, "Yeah, that happened to me too." And I had I think he said it was his daughter raced like Minish Cap hours or something like this, and I guess at some point someone was saying it to their wife, and the wife was actually like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that happened to him as well," and was quite devastated for me. So obviously this has happened to other people also, but she had good intentions and she enjoys playing the games, and I can't hearten that, but I was happy to be able to.
The last thing you want to do in that situation too is like sully their enjoyment of games by saying like, "Oh, like that's like." The way that you responded to that is like, really important for how her relationship to video games could be influenced by that, right?
Yeah, I went upstairs when I first saw it. I noticed it happened. I went upstairs and I grabbed a pillow and I put my head in the pillow and I screamed some cuss words. And then Jody's like, "What?" And I told my wife, and she's just about laughing. And I was like, "I recognize it's a game. I recognize that it's." Like when we think of life in every other context, it's like privilege. All right, simmer down. But I said, but it's very upsetting. I was actually to a point where I was like,
that's a big investment you put into the game.
It is.
It's no different than if I spent 75 hours writing a computer program, and then it gets deleted.
Yeah,
it was 75 hours of my life that's gone.
Yeah. It was so interesting.
I don't know if I'd want to do it over again.
Well, and that was the thing, is I was kind of going through this like emotional roller coaster of like, should I do it over again? Right? Because at this point, like at the point after everything had occurred, and I talked to my daughter, I was like, well, it's just gone. It just is what it is.
Yep.
That's it. Right? So I'll have to start from scratch. And I literally sat to myself and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Right? Like I do. I want to go through the story. I want to see this, but I'm like, but I feel so defeated because so many things are already revealed for you. Do you know what I mean? Because when things have been revealed, but you haven't got the payoff. So now it's that kind of like retreading. So I was in such a weird spot. I was like, I do want to, but maybe I'm not going to come back to this until like December. Maybe I'm just not like, I'm just going to not play it because I can't. But the challenge is at this point, everyone is also like, "Hey, I'm in the trials," and I'm like, "Hey, 75 hours is gone. I can't go to the trials." Right? Like I was like, "I can go get a sweatshirt on the plateau, and I'll see you guys later."
Yeah.
But I was very happy, and I know there's some conversation in the back end on Twitter. People are like, "This is why cloud saving needs to be in place," and I do get this, but yeah, parenting lesson for everyone, and how you deal with that was important. And in the end, it's all just games. And but there was about 25 minutes where I was pretty devastated. And I think the line chat for us blew up, and my Twitter was blowing up. And appreciate everyone who reached out to me. Adam reached out to me and talked to me a little bit about it as well. But it was saved. And actually, when I went back to redo those 7 hours I had missed, I actually found more stuff. Which actually made it a little bit okay. So yeah.
That's and then funny. You probably did the same content in less time since you knew what you were doing.
I did. I was much quicker to get through it actually. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, good job, Justin, on being a good father and a good taking one for the team. That sucks. Right on, man. Jesse, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
So I have been playing. So I did play some Breath of the Wild, doing the Trial of the Sword. I did finish the beginning level and the middle level, and then I tried the final level, and realized really quick I need to max out my hearts because I was still like 3 short. So I did finished the run of 120 shrines, and then I ended up having one too many slots into my stamina, so I went to the statue and switched it from the stamina to the heart. So now I have all 30 hearts, and I was able to get to the second save room No.
In the one?
Did I get to the second one? Yeah, I did get to the second safe room.
Safe. I thought you said save. I was like,
I did say save. I meant safe.
Oh, okay. I was like,
yeah, I got to the second safe room in the final thing, and then just got everything handed to me at the end. Just because, in the final section, in that third section after this, everything's in ice, and I messed up my cooking recipes, so I didn't have enough cool resistance, and I ended up pretty much using all my fire weapons way too early. So Lucas says try using dishes. Yeah, as I said, I made my dishes wrong, and
yeah, you've got to be careful about how you're making your dishes in that game. Hey, like it's
in the first safe room, I was able to get 2 hearty truffles, which let me make 2 things of food that did full health, but I ended up blowing both of them in the same fight. I don't remember what the fight was. Oh, I do. It was the lava talus.
Oh, geez. Is it? Wait, which ones are you doing again?
The final state. Oh,
okay. Is there just 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I actually haven't even tried the trials since I lost last week, where I was like, I tried them and I got right to the end boss and died, and I was like, screw this game.
Yeah. So the last one, the skeleton Hinox is the boss, mini boss before the first safe room, and then the lava talus is before the second safe room, and I don't remember what I ended up getting killed on, but it gets rough really quick. And I heard other people listening to other people talk, and I thought I heard someone say that one of the rooms has both a guardian and a Lionel, and then we're like, oh my god. So and there are ancient arrows you can collect. I think I've got 6 of them, maybe 9. I don't remember how many I collected. So those definitely will get used in the end game.
Nice, right on, man. Very cool.
My son also tried it, but he only has like 80 shrines done. So he is very low on hearts, and I couldn't even beat the easy level with his load. So I told him, you need to do some shrine farming and get more hearts.
Yeah.
So then another game I was playing, I completely forgot that Final Fantasy XII's remaster was coming out. I realized that this weekend. So I'm like, crap, I need to finish Persona first before that comes out. So I put a big I knew I was near the end game. I was in the final dungeon. And, I finally did get to the end of Persona 5 Monday night. Thank God. The final fight I was able to do on my first try. But still, that was an hour-long fight.
Oh, wow.
Just a very slow grind. And as he keeps on, throwing more and more attacks at me, and I'm going through all of my items to heal and get magic back and to raise the dead, and I almost ran out of stuff. And if I would have been really upset if I didn't beat that boss. And even after I beat it, the way the story formed itself, it still looked like I had a chance of not winning yet, and there was still possibly more. But the end of that hour-long fight was really the end. Everything else was scripted the way to be a win. So that was a fun game. I'll probably do a New Game Plus, after I sit on it for maybe a year, and try to go through with a guide to help me get all the other social links that I missed. Because I think between 3, 4, and 5, I think I got the fewest social links maxed, which probably made things harder. Because those usually do help. Because if you max out a social link, each social link is paired with an arcana, which is paired with a class of monsters. So by maxing it out, you unlock the strongest monster of that arcana type.
Very cool, dude. Well, that sounds awesome.
Anyway, so go ahead.
No, yeah, no. I wish that Persona would come to Switch. I would totally do it.
Yeah, that would be very handy on mobile, and I ended up playing most of that game through the PS4 remote play on my PC while my son was playing other games like Wii U games or Switch games on the TV. But now that my daughter's found Grand Theft Auto 5, which is she got the PS4 version, now I have to fight with her on time with that. That I can't just override on remote play because she's using it.
Yeah, totally.
So I did kind of play a little prank on her to embarrass her a little bit while she was playing. She was trying to figure out the game. I started streaming it on Twitch and put a tweet out that says, to embarrass my daughter, I'm streaming her gameplay of her trying to play this game. And it had a few people watching for a bit, but she spent most of that time, lost in menu hell and really didn't do anything interesting. And by the time she started doing interesting stuff, the people that were watching already left.
And they're like, oh, okay.
But yeah, apparently driving is a real pain in that game.
That's funny. Right on. Well, anything else?
I did start playing Final Fantasy 12. I got like the first hour or so in. So, and you might have remembered, about a year or so ago, I started a replay on the PS2. Got maybe 8 hours in, and that's when they announced they were doing a remaster. Then I'm like, screw this. I'll stop and play something else and just wait for the remaster. So I plan on playing through this one like I did with Persona. Then,
nice.
Yeah. The final hour count was like 101 hours in Persona.
Oh my gosh, dude!
So yeah,
wow.
which fell in line with how much time I spent in Persona 3 and 4. So I'm not surprised at all.
I never actually finished Persona. Well, either of them, frankly. Persona 4, I got quite a ways into it, but then, at some point, I just was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping they did do an anime with 5, similar to how they did with 3 and 4. I want to see. It'd be interesting to see what they do how they do that in an anime story.
Yeah, well, if Persona 4 is any indicator, you're not going to be without stuff to do in that game for sure. So, yeah, right on, dude. I think that's it. Let's head into some. We have 2 emails real quick that I want to get through.
We have two emails and a Justin Asks.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into that right now. All right, and of course, the mailbag is brought to you by oneupbox.com. So if you like geeky boxes of goodness, go over to oneupbox.com, use the code NintendoDads, and get $3 off your first order. And Marty put up June's not too long ago, right?
Yeah,
we were a little behind. We did put it up there, yeah. So One Up Box is awesome, and we appreciate their support of the show. Mm-hmm. Justin, what is it? What's your
Wobble Buffet
this week?
Yeah, so this week's Justin Asks. My question was, if you could go anywhere for a holiday in a Nintendo world or a video game world, where would you go? I said maybe you're on a holiday for 3 days. Where would you go? Gentlemen, let you percolate on that. Just as an FYI, my answer was Inkopolis. I like urban sprawl. I like cities. I like walking around and seeing culture. I think Inkopolis. But let me tell you what some of our fans said. And, of course, they went over to our YouTube channel and clicked the subscribe button. By the way, guys, do you know how close we are to 1,000 subscribers?
I would say 59 subscribers away.
I would love to see us if we can crack that by the end of by next week. Would be just beauty, eh?
That'd be awesome.
So if you haven't, head over to our YouTube channel.
How about this? If we do that, then we will draw 2 additional things for our thing, for our giveaway.
Wow, that was specific, generic.
We will draw
Not
2
specific.
additional people in that giveaway, and we will send them something nice.
Love it. Love it.
So look at that, guys. Don't say I never did nothing for you.
Only 99,000 more for the silver button.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to go read through a couple of these. Woo's Maven 628 says Woohoo Island. Kugel 311 says all the buffets in Dreamland. Daniel Crowder says Delfino Plaza. Eric Plunk says go to the GameCube version of Animal Crossing and dig for the hidden NES games. Gary Croxford says Castlevania, actually, especially after seeing the Netflix carnage, then he would just want to sit back and watch it and to ensue. Tim says Delfino Island. Nintendo Family Gaming says Woohoo Island. Gary Gray says I'd go to Outset Island and eat a Granny's soup. Make more soup, Grammy. Okay. Yeah. So going to a place to get soup with Grammy. That's cool. And then Eric Miner says the Animal Crossing universe. So would like to actually it says think about it. For 3 days I would get to fish, play NES games, buy a lot of stuff, converse with a bunch of talking animals, travel to an island with a singing turtle, design my own clothes, dig up real-life dinosaur bones, and much more. In fact, instead of coming home from vacation, I'd just sell my soul to Tom Nook and live there forever. Eric, that is the winning comment. That is the winning comment. Well done, sir. Guys, where would you go if you were on vacation and you could go to a Nintendo place? I notice a lot of these are tropical, by the way. Woohoo Island, Delfino Square, or sorry, Delfino Island.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'll do one. The Alola region in the Pokemon game in Sun and Moon.
Okay, like the Hawaii almost. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Hawaii style, but then you've got all the Pokemon there too, so you could be like a Pokemon trainer if you want. You
take some Pokemon tour. Maybe they do tours there for sure, right? They do walking Pokemon tours where you probably pay like some top dollar and you have to be a Pokemon catcher and you have some guide you around. Yeah, dude, I'd totally do that. Okay, Jesse.
That's a good question. Really tough one. Probably
Nebraska.
Omaha.
There's got to be a game that featured Nebraska, right? Like that's a thing.
Yeah, football. Maybe like Link's Awakening's Island.
Oh,
more going back to the tropical thing, but
you could say it's I don't know. I was gonna make some joke about it being a dream, but it's anyways. I'm not going to go there, although I just did.
Nice. Okay. So cool. Yeah. Cool. So guys, I'm trying to do Justin Asks almost every single week. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. Actually, I put up a content today about our tour of the DLC package for ARMS as well, so you can check that out there. So head over to our YouTube channel. But let's jump right into the news. We got a bumper for news, or not news? Sorry. Jump into emails there, Zach. Do we got a bumper pack kind of stuff?
Already. I already played it.
Did you?
Yeah,
what was it again?
It was
Wobble Buffet.
Good.
No, that's not right.
Excellent.
Yeah. There we go.
All right. Feedback again, are we?
No. Yeah, I could do that again. Accidentally do that.
Our first email comes from Jeffrey. Jeffrey asks, "Hi, Nintendo Dads. I know the topic of physical versus digital games have been debated often. For me, I decided to go all digital with the Switch. I used the Vita a lot and maybe had 15 cartridges and maybe 15 cartridges and maybe 50 digital games. I remember I had gotten too lazy to find and deal with my cartridges and ended up just playing my digital games. I can buy a physical copy for $60 from Amazon." For $48 based on the pre-order savings of 20%. So I know I'm paying $12 extra per game for digital, and is it worth it? Well, I think so. One unique thing about the Switch as a console is that it's portable, thus I'm out in the world with it. If I were to lose it or if I got stolen, I'd be out of the price of the console and all my physical cartridges I was carrying. But the digital, I could buy a new Switch and still have all the games. My total games are over $400 already in this short period of time, and the number will get much bigger in the years to come, dwarfing the dollar spent on an actual console. Also, with a quick on and off switch, I can quickly play for a few minutes here and there and switch quickly between games. And lastly, I hope with the new Nintendo account, these digital purchases will continue for my lifetime and also be accessible. I know this has not been the case in the past, but this time with the evolution of online accounts, by all major companies, I'm hoping that these purchases will be playable for years to come on future systems. Anyways, just wanted to share my digital thoughts. Thanks very much, guys. That's from Jeff. Guys, how do you manage? You're managing digital, virtual, or digital, physical, or a combination?
I am doing all digital. I have a physical copy of Breath of the Wild because I couldn't bring myself to not have a game in the cartridge slot.
Sure.
And so I have actually 2 physical games. I have 1-2 Switch and I have Breath of the Wild. And so that is, but everything else I've done digital. But I've also really been feeling more ambivalent about it this time than just about any other time. I really felt like, but I sure would like to have, some sort of physical thing for all of my games. And so I feel like, I don't know. I do like, he does make a really good point about having access to those games once you've paid for them on digital, right? Like that is a really excellent point that, if you are worried about the fact that you may lose access, like you may lose your Switch or you may lose, it's stolen or whatever, that's true. You will still have access to it regardless. I don't know how much I want to live my life based on the potential of stuff like that, but that point taken. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. What do you? And I'm okay with. I think either way, really. But I have specifically chosen to go all digital. What about you, Justin?
So I'm in a bit of a weird boat, right? So obviously being over here, and forever, however long that's going to be, what's the best way? Because ultimately, in the end, everything has to come. If we move back to Canada, things have to come back to Canada, right? So do I want to be slogging back an entire boxes of, so to say? And obviously, they're very thin. As a matter of fact, actually, when we came here, we had got a case actually for PDP that I had put my game cartridges in. I actually left the physical cases of Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch back in Canada in a box, and I just put the cartridges in a carrying case, and that's how I roll. For me, a lot of it boils down, believe it or not, is actually cost. So is it cheaper for me to buy digitally, or is it cheaper for me to buy physically, or is it comparable depending on where I am based on the currency exchange? A great example is it was actually cheaper for me to buy physically Mario Kart 8 here in Ireland than it was to buy it digitally on the Nintendo eShop. So those are a couple things that I kind of keep in mind. I also keep in mind how likely am I never do it, but how likely am I to maybe want to get rid of this game? So an example is one of the reasons I didn't buy 1-2 Switch digitally is because I was thinking I was probably going to need to want to get rid of it, right? And also, what games do I want to have access to quickly that I'm going to really enjoy? So Splatoon's a great example. Like I'll probably pick up Splatoon digitally because I want to have that on my cart. I want to have that easily accessible. So I have a bit of a mix of it. Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for you, obviously. And the other thing is I don't have an expanded memory yet on my Switch. I'm still using just the normal base memory. So I also know there's a lot of eShop games that are coming out that I'm really interested in. So that's gonna fill up my system. So I don't really have a good answer for you. You make some valid points though, Jeff. I would say on my 3DS I was very heavy digital though. I was very, very heavy. I was like you, Zach. I always had one game in the cartridge slot.
Yeah, he does say something to the effect of like that he will have these games for years and years and years to come, with like in perpetuity almost, like just forever and ever. And I would say, don't count on it necessarily. I have a ton of digital Wii U games that I have no illusions to the fact that I'm going to, those are all trapped on that thing and I'm not going to get them on anything else. So like, just be happy that just be aware that when the Switch's successor comes out in 6 or 7 years, that they will be trapped on your Switch, or that they may not, that system may not be backwards compatible. And
yeah,
but
I also find it very easy to digitally hoard too.
Yeah,
right? And I think that you're guilty of this, Zach, and I don't want to like call you out on this, but your commentary, the amount of times that you like, I've gone to eShop, I passed out, and all of a sudden now I have 5 games on my console. What happened there, right? Like
totally.
I think it's very easy to do that, and I think sometimes that was one of the things when I got my Switch, and I know I think I just talked about this before about how many games you have on your Switch. I think I've only got like a total of 8 games. I think is it's very easy. The more games you get, the quicker other games disappear off that roster. You forget about it, right? And it just becomes this digital archive of dust on a server somewhere, or whatever it is, right? But to try and maintain as much as you can, I want to play what I'm playing at that time, and because I think it's very easy to be like, oh, now I'm going to play this, now I'm going to play this, and you never fully complete it or you never fully enjoy it. So I'm trying to spend more time fully enjoying my games, as opposed, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not rushing through Breath of the Wild.
Did you just say Breath of the Wild?
No, I did not.
Pretty sure you did.
You're pretty sure you heard that wrong. Yeah.
No comment.
See, yeah. You heard it too. So what I do think too is, I think what you're saying too, or at least it's reminding me of what I deal with too sometimes, is like, I sit and play a game, and then very quickly I'm like, no, this isn't what I want to play. And then I like quit out and play something else, and no, this isn't what I want to play. And like I sometimes will do that like 3 or 4 or 5 times, where I literally will get into Breath of the Wild and then like realize, oh, I'm at this one part where there's this stupid camp. I don't want to do that right now. And then I'll go in and I'll play ARMS, and then I'll get my butt kicked once in ARMS. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this right now. And like, I just, because I can, I cycle through games a lot. And so that's another sort of, and it's almost that sort of choice paralysis that I think we've talked about, right? Where it's like, well, crap, I could play this game, or I could play this game, or I could play this game. I guess I'll just play all of them. And then you end up just not playing any of them. So. Yeah.
Good question, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
This next question, actually, I think maybe Jesse, this might be right up your alley. Jesse, this question comes from Brandon. Brandon asks, hey, dads, I have a technical question and potentially a PSA. I work in electronics and know not to keep electronics charging long past their full charge point because it eventually leads to the product not holding a charge. Ironically, as we actually just said, that my iPad battery life just came on and said you have 10% left. An issue some 3DS owners have come across in the past. If I leave my Switch docked, do you think a similar thing will happen a few years down the line if I use it in portable mode? So basically, he's saying like, hey, I leave it in the dock. It's always kind of got a charge to it. Are you running a constant stream to the battery? And basically, are you pulling from the battery? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that going to cause your battery degradation?
I don't know if that's still a thing. Like, I know that old stuff used to be like that. Some kind of batteries, old kinds of batteries are like that. My understanding is that is not as big of a deal as it used to be.
I think it depends on the device. I keep most, like, my my Switch, 3DS, and my Vita are almost always plugged in, and really haven't noticed any degradation. Though I ended up buying this brick of a battery, and again, plugged in most of the time, and this has already been shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it used to this thing by itself could fully charge my iPad from dead to 100%, and it would pretty much be drained. Now I think it only goes to like 25 to 30% before it's shot. So it definitely has been ruined a little bit. But most smaller devices, I don't think it has that issue as much.
I also wonder, and I got think as he was saying this, I think. So if the Switch is in the dock, you're not playing, and it's already at fully like 100% charged, it's not continually charging, right? Because it's in sleep mode, so it's not drawing anything.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, obviously, once it's fully charged, then it's not going to be drawing more power. Like, the device is intelligent enough to not do that, to not continue to draw power from that, because it would just be bad design to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like device, like the Nintendo or like Apple smartphones are like this too. Once it's done, once it's charged, it doesn't. In fact, a lot of phones nowadays too will actually draw a ton of power when you first plug it in, and then once it reaches a certain percentage, then it actually draws a little bit less power, because what you really want is almost like a quick charge sort of thing, a sort of thing. They have that plugged or just put right into the phone. So I don't know exactly how that. I don't know. I could be making that up, but my understanding is that that's not as big of a deal as some people would have you believe, I guess. And that, I mean, obviously that, like, I feel like that kind of thing is what I remember hearing about, like, wireless phones when I was a teenager. Like, don't hang it up until it's actually dead, because otherwise the phone's gonna get a weird trained battery and whatever. I don't think that happens with modern electronics. So
yeah, I think that kind of got solved like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, lithium-ion batteries are a little bit better off. I think it's those are better off now than some of the old nickel cadmium and all that jazz. So, if we are talking out our butts and you are banging your head against your iPods or your phone or whatever, nintendodads@gmail.com. We are happy to be corrected on that. But that is my understanding.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it this week.
Before we finish, I wanted a shot at that first question.
Oh.
Did we miss you? Yeah, go ahead.
You missed me. Okay, so going back to digital. Yeah, I have almost 100% digital, have been through the entire Wii U 3DS generation. 3DS not initially because the games weren't on retail initially, but once they started selling retail games digitally, then I haven't bought a cartridge since, with the rare exception of getting a special edition. So, So I think I myself own one Wii U disc. My son's got a bunch, but because I got the Tokyo Mirage Sessions special edition, I got Persona 5 special edition. That my first PS4 disc. I did get
digital is you don't get any of those special editions. Like you opt out of that game, and that is where a lot of that conflict and sort of has come from for me. Is like, oh man, but that looks cool.
I did get to Final Fantasy 12 on disc just using the discount from Amazon, but other than that, those are the only physical games I've bought in 5 years. Physical games I bought in 5 years. I did pre-order the Samus Return special edition, so I'll be getting that cart. So, like my Vita has never had a card in it. I don't own any physical Vita games. Everything's digital. So, but there definitely is a risk in that, because if you don't like a game, you are stuck with it. Like I had this problem with Watch Dogs, the Platinum Transformers game. There was a few Dragon Quest Warriors I liked, but it just really didn't grab me. So that was another game I only put maybe 3 or 4 hours in. But so those three $60 games I put a total of 4 hours in. So there's definitely risks in that. But in a whole, I don't like selling back games anyway. If I buy a game, I want to keep it, so I have no problem buying them digitally.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Yeah. With the Switch, Zelda is the only physical game I have. Again, special edition.
Yep.
If it wasn't for that special edition, I would have bought it digitally.
Yeah.
And I do invest in extra storage. I have a 2 terabyte drive on my Wii U. I have 128 gig in my Switch. I have a 64 gig in my 3DS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hear you. Very cool. All right. Well, everybody, with that, Justin, do we have anything as we're kind of looking at the future?
The future, no, but I want to thank someone in the present. That person is Ariel, who, how do you say that? Ariel. Ariel?
Ariel?
Sure. Who has become a recent Patreon supporter of ours. So thank you very much for your amazing Patreon support. We greatly appreciate it. And, of course, a big shout-out to our executive producer, the one, the only, Dave. Thank you very much for your amazing support on Patreon.com. We greatly appreciate it. In relation to what's coming up soon, guys, we are going to be bringing back our Retro Rewind. We're going to be recording an episode of Super Mario World, not this week, but actually probably next week.
Already here.
Yeah, we're going to have Marty back for that. And we do expect to be putting up a vote for what we'll be playing in August coming up real soon as well. So do hang out and do make sure you're subscribed to what we're doing to find that out as well.
Absolutely.
I want to do a quick shout out to Tomas Riquelme. I'm sorry if I ruined the name, but he said greetings from Chile in the chat.
Nice.
Hello.
That's awesome. Thank you for being a fan of the show and listening in. That's awesome. Cool to have international, like we're already international, but we're good. We appreciate you being around and being a fan too. So with that, gents, let me cue the music. Hopefully my phone doesn't die halfway through this because that's going to be super awkward. But thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. If you want to follow us on all of the social medias, you can do so on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Nintendo Dads. If you want to email us, you can do so at nintendodads@gmail.com. If you want to find our videos, you can look for Nintendo Dads on YouTube or Twitch. If you want to call in and leave us a voicemail, it's 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to both Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our amazing artwork. And, of course, if you want to change the world, go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever they're calling themselves these days. Leave us a 5-star review. Written reviews are even better. And, of course, if you want to subscribe, you can do so on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and, of course, VGTribune.com. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for the missing Marty, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Right on.
Very nice.
Good show, gents.